Hello.
Hi.
For those of you who don't know who I am, my name's Will. I am here to thank you for coming to the Zombie Survival Workshop, brought to you, of course, by Zombie Squad. For those of you who were out with us last night, I hope your hangovers are starting to go away a little bit. There are a few things I want to do. First of all, I'm going to introduce you to a bunch of our members who will be giving you tidbits of information that hopefully will help keep you a little bit less dead during the inevitable zombie uprising. Something we like to refer to as the Zombocalypse. Now, before we get started, if anyone does meander into the aisle or by the exits, if you could please avoid doing that, so that if there is a fire, we don't have to trample you to death in order to save ourselves. Also, if you have any comments or questions, please save them until after the break. We're going to have a Q&A session then, and that way we don't get distracted. In addition, if you have any cell phones, you're more than welcome to take pictures, make movies, or etchings of Kyle's face, but please hold on and turn off the ringers so that they don't distract us. Yes, that you too. All right. For those of you who do not know what Zombie Squad is, let me break it down for you. Since the dawn of time, there has been an unbridled force stirring throughout the universe and slowly coalescing into a veritable maelstrom of awesome. The timing was perfect. The stars were aligned, and out of the chaos and the discord formed a perfect point, a singularity. The very gods, they bowed their heads and they breathed a silent blessing. Let there be Zombie Squad. And there was. With our combined knowledge and experience, we very quickly became the world's premier non-stationary cadaver suppression task force, dedicated to the dissemination of information and the eradication of the infestation that is the Walking Dead. Oh yes, the Walking Dead. Zombies. Now you see, a lot of people ask us, what exactly do you mean when you say zombies? Well, I don't mean hippies. I don't mean drunks. Good thing. I don't mean Republicrats. I mean used to be alive, now dead, still walking around but doing their thing, plain old regular zombies. Yes. Now, if you must think of something to replace the word zombies, a metaphor, you could conceivably use natural disaster. However, we thought that Zombie Squad was a lot cooler than Tornado Squad. Great. So, when we're not out kicking zombie ass, what we do is we spend our time educating ourselves and the community around us about the importance of disaster education, prevention, and, of course, about community involvement. Now, the way that works is we Kyle, we have a very unexpected message coming across the ComNet. Is there any way you could patch that through to the main screen, please? Jimmy? Jimmy, can you hear me?
Will, can you hear me? Do you read?
Yeah, barely. What's your situation?
Listen to me, Will. The undead bastards are everywhere. Swarms of them. They're coming out of everywhere. Bug out and find a secure location. You've got to alert the rest of the squad. Now, it's not immediately apparent how widespread this is, but it is beyond Class 2. Repeat, beyond the Class 2. I mean, we're well into Class 3. I mean, Will, this could be it. This could be the Zombocalypse. Class 4.
Oh, jeez. All right, Jimmy. Tell me, where's the rest of your squad?
What? What, the squad?
The squad.
Oh, I lost Tyree. I've lost Dutch. There's just too many of them, mate. They're like dingoes on a baby. We're surrounded. Duncan, watch your sick! Duncan! Oh, crikey! I just got Duncan. I'm the last one.
All right, Jimmy, we're going to send a rescue squad as soon as we can.
No, negative. There's no point. The fat's in the fry, mate. I'm done here. I'm the last one.
Jimmy, what are you going to do?
Hold this position. Take out as many of these brain suckers as I can. You see me shambling your way, Will. You know what to do, right? Out. Come on then, you bastards!
Alright, Kyle, we have a bunch of people watching. That was weird. Wouldn't worry about it though. I suddenly have something I gotta do. No big deal, really. I'm gonna bring this guy up. You, come here. This is Dr. Jason. Dr. Jason's a registered zombologist from the Zombie Squad R&D department, so why don't you take that right there? Thank you, goodbye.
Thanks, William. Hello. Since its beginnings, the Zombie Squad has been working diligently in trying to get out information vital to your survival in the case of a zombie catastrophe, or zombocalypse, if you will. Through charity events, pamphlets, seminars such as this one, and disaster fairs, it has been our mission to make sure that you and your loved ones have the tools necessary to thrive and survive in the face of adversity, undead or otherwise. And then, back in March of last year, we staged a mock zombie outbreak in an area known as the Delmar Loop. Very simple operation, simple costumes were worn, makeup effects and whatnot. A test to gauge the local populace's reaction to the undead hordes. Would they panic? Would they proceed with their personal evacuation plan? Would they call their local zombie squad member? What we found shocked us. Not one call to ZS headquarters was made, let alone local law enforcement. In fact, our zombies were mocked, laughed at, the targets of camera phones. If this had been a real outbreak of the cerebrine-eating dead, St. Louis failed, miserably. And we were flummoxed in the R&D department. What could we do to make sure that our loved ones, the people of our fair city, would take this threat more seriously? And so it was decided, instead of merely telling you about what to look out for, perhaps it's best if we show you. Delgado!
Delgado! Bring that ankle dragger in here.
Come on over. Just bend over here. That's good, thank you. Please don't be alarmed. Don't be alarmed. Everything's under control. Thank you. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Annie. Annie here was a waitress in Moberly, Missouri. She was a small town girl living in a lonely world. Her midnight train led her into the maw of a Class 2 zombie outbreak. We found Annie just before her body had turned, so we decided to capture her and use her for our educational purposes. Just a note, beside her body when we found her was a camera phone. A picture of her zombie attacker still fresh in memory. Now, let's begin with a short discussion of necrotic locomotion, or what we like to call the movement of the zombie. We all know that there are different types of zombies, ranging from radioactive to black magic. Annie here is what we like to call a classic shambler, one of the most traditional of the undead. Also, depending on the death that the victim has died, a zombie may move slower or faster, depending on what your community is dealing with. You'll notice her movements are slow but deliberate, off-kilter balance, spasming muscles, one leg probably dragging behind the other, the arms reaching out towards her prey. Things like that are, common within the local zombie. Hi, Tom, could you grab her, please? Thank you. Huh. Now let's take a good look at her appearance. You'll notice the discoloration of her skin from its original color to a more gray, blue, black sort of hue. Her eyes searching out wildly for her next meal. The yellow, crusty fingernails, red wounds from where she has been attacked. The disheveled look of her hair and garb, which is kind of indicative of maybe your local crack addict or hippie. Depending on the freshness of a zombie, you may discover her oozing out of certain wounds, pores, or other orifices. Yes. Keep in mind that the fresher the zombie, the more human it may look. Luckily, there are other signs that you can look for in order to identify your necrotic attacker. For example, the zombie cannot speak. The moaning you might hear coming from your local undead horde usually comes from muscle memory of the lungs trying to bring in oxygen and expel it. For example, Annie, what is your name? No, that's not right. Annie, what high school did you go to? No. What high school did... Thank you, Annie. You see, it's absolutely impossible to reason with a zombie on any intellectual level. Now let's get down to brass tacks and actually talk about what the zombie truly craves. Its eating habits. The zombie does not care for broccoli. No. The zombie does not care for fried poultry. That was very naughty. All right, well, that didn't work out. Let's try let's try a human arm. Hey, how you like that? Yeah? Yes, that's good. It's tasty. No, you've been bad. Let's try pieces of liver. Pieces of thing. Yes, that's good. Yes, good. Tom, please. No, that's for later. Then let's try dessert, shall we? How about the chocolate mousse of zombie cuisine? Raw, fresh brain. Yes, good. Eat it all. Eat Clean Plate Club. Clean Plate Club. Yes. No. You see, this is what the zombie is truly after. Flesh, entrails, brains. Yours specifically. And yours. And yours. Thank you, Delgado. If you could take her away, please. Thank you very much. Can we give Annie a big hand? She's been so Finally, just a quick warning. Do not try to fend off the hordes yourself. Call your local zombie squad member or member of law enforcement. That kind of thing is something they're actually trained for. Still, you may end up in a situation where you have to save you or your loved ones, as is always popular in the movies, from the undead hordes. It's very simple. Fire works, also decapitation, but the key to stopping your local zombie is blunt trauma to the brain. Only after destroying the brain, the destruction of the body, burning of the corpse, or the nuking of the site from orbit, can you make sure that the threat is truly over. Now, your main objective as a civilian in a zombie outbreak is very, very simple: to survive. And we in the Research and Development Lab have found that preparedness is actually very, very key to your survival in a situation such as this. Here now is Zombie Squad member Michelle Hatfield with some tips and tricks that you can do to prepare your home in a little segment we call Bugging In. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason. Disasters can strike at any time, much like polar bears or ninjas. Preparation can be your key to survival. Gathering the supplies that you need and making the decisions on how to respond can be a life-threatening challenge, or it can be as simple as opening the cache of food and equipment that you've prepared while implementing your pre-planned disasters reactions. Running around in unprepared panic may sound like fun, but it's not going to help you survive a tornado, blizzard, or zombie outbreak. Disaster planning has two parts, bugging in and bugging out. Bugging in or sheltering in place simply means staying in your home during and immediately after a disaster. Your home will be your primary safe zone and, first line of defense when the dead shamble in the streets. Bugging out is a common phrase for evacuation. As the greater number of zombie training films have shown, no stronghold is impenetrable. You will need to be able to evacuate your home in mere minutes should it become compromised, or when you can no longer stand being in a 10 by 10 room with your spouse, her dog, and her mom. Here I will focus on preparing your home before disaster strikes, ensuring that you will be able to survive a minimum of 3 days without a trip to your local Handy Mart. The apocalypse will be hard and full of daily trials. There will be no air conditioning, no White Castle, no Home Depot or Costco. Oh, yes. Once the zombies are upon us, the worst place you can be is at the store with a mob of unprepared people clawing at each other for the last gallon of milk or a sheet of plywood. If you think the lines at the grocery store are bad now, try them when the rest of the customers think that you are the groceries. Today, I will be focusing on bugging in. And there are a number of supplies that you will need to gather for your survival. The first is, of course, water. Most experts recommend 1 gallon of water per person per day for consumption. If you're planning ahead, like we're encouraging you to do now, you can purchase bottled water at your local grocery store. If you have a little bit of time, a little bit of warning, you can fill up your bathtub. If you're desperate, you can use your water heater tank or the tank of your toilet, not the bowl. During a disaster, there's a chance of minor contamination. You can use a few drops of bleach to purify your water. Extra water for cleaning is also going to be very important. Sanitation is not going to be what you're used to during a disaster. You'll want to remain as clean as possible. No one wants to die of dysentery after all. I should note here that while whiskey is a necessity for any apocalyptic situation, it does not count as a source of water. Remember that. You will need a store of food. Canned food is a fantastic idea. Make sure you have a non-electric can opener, as metal is a little bit hard on your teeth. Dried food is also a perfect option. You want to make sure you keep all of your stores in a safe place away from pests and rotate them out occasionally, donating your older stores of food to a food pantry. Keep your pets and children in mind when stocking up, and this does mean that you're stocking up for your pets and children, not considering them your stock of food. Light sources are also an important supply. Camping lanterns and flashlights make a late night trip to the restroom much simpler. You'll need to stock up on batteries though. Oil lanterns and candles are also a great backup plan. Scented candles can add a little bit of romance to any low light apocalyptic situation. Of course, you will need a first aid kit. Make sure you have plenty of tape and gauze on hand, many common medications, which you'll need to rotate out like your food. You'll also want to make sure that you can use all of these supplies. You can obtain plenty of great free first aid training from your local fire department, your Red Cross chapter, or your CERT branch. Additionally, a smoke detector and fire extinguisher could save your life. If the general utilities are out, the chances of a fire rise dramatically. If the general utilities are out and the dead are shambling in the streets, your fire department's response time, probably not so good. You will need to be able to handle your own fires, small explosions, and treed kittens. Finally, you'll want a variety of communication devices. First, you'll need an old school phone with a cord. You remember those? You'll need one in case the utilities are out and the mobile phone networks are overloaded. This way you'll be able to call your friend with a helicopter and set up a pickup time. You'll want a handy phone tree. When putting together your phone tree, remember that your local neighbors and family probably have more use than your World of Warcraft guild members. A selection of radios is also going to be important. The first thing you should do in a disaster is turn on your radio. Not only will this provide a soothing soundtrack to the destruction around you, but you'll be able to keep up to date with news and information. Since the power will probably be out at this point, manually operated radios are your best bet. A scanner, a shortwave radio, or a ham radio will allow you to connect to people further away or on other networks, which will be useful if your disaster is intense or localized. Also, if you live in your mom's basement, you really do need a ham radio. Many communications these days have emergency alert networks that most of us foolishly ignore. Here we have a short film showing us why we should not be ignoring these.
Zombie Squad presents the Emergency Alert System. It's a beautiful day here in a typical American corporation, and here are 4 typical American employees working on their TPS reports. Hey guys, did you remember to put covers on those TPS reports this time? Great. What's that noise? Oh, it's the Emergency Alert System. You're right, these TPS reports are important. The National Weather Service uses the Emergency Alert System to notify the public of severe weather conditions such as tornadoes, thunderstorms, hurricanes, blizzards, flash floods, and of course the occasional zombie apocalypse. Ignoring the Emergency Alert System may help you finish your TPS reports in time. That will be of little comfort when they're fishing your corpse out of this wreckage. Instead of ignoring a severe weather warning, it's important for you to get to an interior room or to the basement of your home or office. In case of a power failure, you'll want to make sure that you have a flashlight on hand. Jennings flashlight serves multiple purposes. It has an incandescent bulb for normal use, an LED bulb that uses less energy and saves battery life, a hand crank that charges the batteries when they die, and also a weather radio. Listen to the weather radio for the all clear, and then you can go back to surfing internet porn. The Zombie Squad reminds you that when severe weather warnings are issued, that means that severe weather has already been cited in your area and you should take the necessary precautions. Don't wait until it's too late to react. The preceding was a public service announcement brought to you by Zombie Squad, keeping dead things deader since 2003. For more information, check out our website at www.zombiehunters.org.
Thank you to Christopher Sear for that bit of informative film. Sometimes in a disaster, it'll be necessary to take shelter in a rather inaccessible location such as your basement, whether it's because of a bad storm you learned about from an emergency alert, or, crazy flesh eaters banging at your windows. When choosing this location, be sure to store some extra equipment and food there. Also, make sure you can check out your surroundings. While in this location, keep an eye on your companion's physical and mental health. You're not going to want to end up like these Coopers here. Keep in mind that everybody's disaster preparation needs are going to be different. Know the common disasters in your region and prepare for them. If you live in a coastal area, make sure that you have plywood on hand to board up your windows. If you live in an area prone to electrical outages, keep a generator on hand to power your necessary appliances like your Xbox 360. And if you live near a cemetery or biological testing facility, keep a boomstick in your bedroom. You're not going to want to advertise your preparations, because if you do, when the zombocalypse hits, you're going to end up with a mob of unprepared neighbors on your doorstep expecting you to feed them all. However, you do want your neighbors to be prepared, since our studies have shown the number of prepared people in your neighborhood has a direct influence on the survival statistics after an undead uprising. You can encourage their preparation subtly in conversation, briefly at the neighborhood meetings, or lengthily at seminars and science fiction horror conventions. Also, practice your plans routinely. Have fire drills with your children. Cook meals from your stores. You could even turn off your utilities and see how you fare for a few days. With this last option, you may want to warn your spouse so you don't have a real disaster on hand. And finally, prepare for your plans to fail. Have an escape route. It's highly probable you will be at work, school, or the strip clubs when an emergency arises. A portable collection of gear will be necessary to get you away from your home if it's compromised, or to your home if you're away. Here is Chris Barnhart to let us know what should be in that collection.
Thanks, Michelle. With our patented wealth-building system, you're going to be able to make $100, $200, maybe even $300,000 a day with no money down. Uh-oh. Thanks, Michelle. Hopefully, when disaster strikes, you're going to be able to kick back in your well-stocked home and wait for the danger to pass. But don't bet your life on it. A wise man once said, "Where you are ain't no good unless you can get away from it." When floodwaters, wildfires, or hordes of the living dead threaten to turn your home into a death trap, you need to be able to bug out with no more than what you can carry and no less than everything you need to survive for 3 days. And you won't have much time to prepare the supplies that you need. Each able-bodied member of your household needs to have their own bug-out bag. Your portable kit of emergency supplies designed to save your ass when the shit hits the fan. If you have pets, small children, or anyone else in your household who are not able to carry their own bug-out bag, you will have to incorporate their gear into yours. Now, you can start with any number of pre-packaged first aid and survival kits, but we find that most of these mass-marketed kits contain only 1 or 2 good quality items and lack essentials. So we recommend that you assemble and pack your own bug-out bag. Let's have a look at what you'll need in yours. Packing a bug-out bag is like preparing your home supplies with 2 special considerations. First, everything needs to be light and portable enough to be able to carry with you for several days. And it all needs to be waterproof. Rain and floodwaters can damage a lot of your goods. Recommend starting with a backpack like this one. You can also take luggage or duffel bags, but we find that backpacks allow you to bump the microphone considerably. Backpacks allow you to have your hands free. Also, the waist and chest straps allow you to distribute the weight more evenly throughout your body and accentuate your cleavage. One of the most useful tools at mankind's disposal is fire. You can cook with it, keep warm by it, destroy stuff with it. Simply put, fire's cool. With some flint and steel and several hours of frustration, anyone can start a fire. Flint and steel both suck. Bring a lighter. Actually, bring more than one. You'll want at least one in your bug-out bag, but this is one of 2 items that are important enough to carry on you at all times. The other being a multi-tool. The knife is the really useful part, but a portable collection of small portable tools can be useful in day-to-day life, and much more so in a disaster. The zombie-infested ruins of the post-apocalypse, your access to can opener and pliers may well save your life. Next thing that you're going to need for your bug-out bag is a 3-day supply of food and water, much like you had at home, except it's all going to need to be very portable. Canned goods are great for your home supplies, but all that extra steel and water is going to bulk you down too much to be able to carry much food with you. You're going to need something more light and portable. The lightest and most portable available ration are lifeboat rations. This small cube here is 3 days of food for an adult. However, after 3 days of eating this, eating human flesh alongside the zombies might sound like a good idea. So we do recommend you supplement that with something that actually tastes good, like MREs or other commercial food bars. Now, the exact trade-off that you pick between portable food and food that tastes like something is up to you and depends on how much you can carry and pack in your bug-out bag. But the 3 things to consider when packing your food is that A, it be non-perishable, B, it be a 3-day supply, and C, it be nothing that you need. It has to be low preparation enough that you can prepare it with only what's in your bug-out bag. Which brings me to my next item. You'll want a mess kit. I use this foldable set of utensils and a Sierra cup. That's about all you need to prepare the food. Now, while eating all that dry food, you'll probably get fairly thirsty, and you'll want water. As Michelle mentioned earlier, an adult's going to need 1 gallon of water per day to survive for 3 days. It's 3 gallons of water. It's 25 pounds. It's going to take up that whole pack. Not realistic to carry with you while you're running around for 3 days. So instead, we recommend you start with a small amount of water, perhaps 2 quarts or so in the canteen, and then get a combination of water filtration and water purification tablets. Use a water filter like this one. Filter the water, get out the large chunks, and water purification tablets to get out any sort of microorganisms living in the water. With this combination, I can turn any water I find, even a bum's urine, into potable water. goes in must come out. And if you do survive long enough to turn your food bars into poop, you'll be glad you bought toilet paper. Also, when your friends and neighbors come shambling up your driveway in search of living sustenance, you might need a fresh pair of underwear. Bring extra socks, too. Hygiene is very important, especially in a biological disaster. After touching corpses, flood water, or anything else unsanitary, you'll need to be able to wash your hands before you can safely eat. Soap can save your life. Toothbrush, toothpaste, floss, and deodorant are also don't take up that much space, and they can help keep you and your friends much more comfortable. Now, in the zombocalypse, running water is going to be hard to come by, and you're going to want nothing so much as a hot shower. This being a science fiction convention, I should remind you, if you haven't yet this weekend, please do indulge in a hot shower. Now, all these supplies are great, but when you're bleeding to death, none of them will do you any good. So the next thing you need to pack is a simple first aid kit, like this one. You don't need to have a whole lot in there. You don't have to have anything elaborate, just what you know how to use. You want to be able to cover a couple main bases. You want to be able to clean small wounds. Alcohol swabs are good for that. Also, you'll want a collection of Band-Aids, bandages. Super glue is also good for closing wounds quickly. Also, quick clot can come in handy. Doesn't need to be anything elaborate, just enough to be able to stop the bleeding and clean a simple wound. If you're female, you may also want to pack whatever you'll need in case disaster happens at the most inopportune time of the month. And if you need medicine to survive, you'll need to pack at least an additional 3-day supply for your survival away from home. If you wear glasses that you require to see, make sure to pack an extra pair in a sturdy container. If you have a devastatingly sexy handle or mustache, make sure to bring extra mustache wax. And if you have obsessive compulsive disorder, make sure you remember to turn off the stove. Now, to avoid being eaten by a grue, you'll want a light source. I recommend packing 2 flashlights. You'll want a battery-powered flashlight for immediate use. And for more sustainable use, I like to use one of these manually recharging flashlights. It's very simple to use and will last theoretically forever. I'll demonstrate how to use this. This one you just sort of shake like this. I'm just going to get this one charged up so I can demonstrate its use for you. These are actually pretty fun to charge up. I like to charge mine up at home, just... There, see? It's just that easy. Now, if you suspect there might be a gas leak, you'll want a nice friction-free, spark-free light source. Light sticks are great for that. Also, during a disaster, access to news can save your life. The local news media in most zombie outbreaks provides information vital to our survival, such as where to seek shelter and assistance, and the score. A manually charging radio is best, but also a battery-powered radio will do. Make sure yours is waterproof. There's also a couple of small items that don't take up a lot of space, but add a lot of value to your bug-out bag. A rain poncho like this one can keep you and your stuff dry. Sunblock and insect repellent can help keep you comfortable and eliminate unnecessary distractions while running from zombies. An emergency blanket like this one's very good for keeping warm by and covering yourself in gold sparklies. If you need 2 things stuck together, duct tape's pretty good for that. Make this smaller by taking out the middle. If you need stuff tied up, rope is pretty much where it's at. Also, a small metal mirror like this one is good for signaling allies at a distance, or in combination with the mustache wax to make sure everything's still in order. Also, a signal whistle like this one can be useful for signaling people at a distance if you're injured, or deafening people in the first 4 rows. Also, a pocket survival guide can be nice light reading in case of disaster. Also, you'll want to pack a wallet with emergency identification and some extra cash. We find that when we're out killing zombies, it's pretty cool when there's packed a bunch of... what I mean to say is during the Zombocalypse, ATM machines, credit card machines are likely going to be out of service. So there's probably only going to be 3 currencies available. Cash, gasoline, and your ass. Cash can save your ass. And when the zombies come calling, you'll probably be glad you brought some scotch. I personally like the Kaolila 12-year. From its fragrant nose of vanilla pod and asparagus to the long, warming finish of oak and peaty bitterness, Kaolila 12 reminds you that you're still alive as you look around and watch civilization collapse around you. And finally, the essence of what the bug out bag is all about. Bring a towel. The most massively useful thing an interstellar hitchhiker or zombie hunter can have. Any man who can hack through the length and breadth of a zombie-infested mall, rough it, slum it, win through, and still knows where his towel is truly a man to be reckoned with. So, now that you know how to pack your lunch for any sort of post-apocalyptic picnic, let's find out what to do when we get there from Zombie Squad's own master of lasers, Mike Mallory.
Thanks, Chris. Chris and Michelle showed you what kind of gear you might need when the zombies rise from the dead and go looking for a snack. Now, there's a lot of neat gear out there, but if you don't know how to use it, it's just dead weight. Or undead weight if you're a zombie carrying around 100 pounds of crap that you didn't know how to use. To give you an idea of the kind of skills and attributes that you're going to need when the dead rise and come looking for you, we're going to run through a scenario using a format you may be familiar with. It's a dark and stormy night. You and your roommate Brad are hanging out. There have been reports of riots and disease in the neighboring cities for the past few days, but all of the television stations have gone silent, and your phones are all dead. Suddenly, your girlfriend, Wilhelmina, rushes in. It's zombies! Zombies have taken over the town! You turn on your shortwave radio and get the news from all over the state. Sure enough, zombies have risen and are headed your way. What do you do? Should you run out to S-Mart for bread, milk, and ammo? Should you secure your home and play some card games? Or should you secure your home and do some push-ups? Well, I like French toast. Let's go to S-Mart. Oh, I've been killed in a shootout between looters and police. I guess shopping smart should have been done beforehand. Luckily, we marked our page. Bugging in it is. Anybody here like card games? Yeah. All right. Bar the doors and sit down, break out some MREs, and have a long game of Uno. I kick ass at Uno. But, right as I'm about to hit Wilhelmina with the draw 4, Brad freaks out. Zombies start banging on the door, moaning and groaning. Brad bolts for the door. He's going to let the zombies in. He opens the door and is torn to pieces. Looks like Brad has done a good job of compromising our position. While the zombies eat his intestines, let's find out what our options are. We could run outside empty-handed, we could scrounge supplies from all over the house, or we could grab our bug-out bag and escape. Well, it is kind of dangerous in here. Let's run outside right now. Oh, that wasn't a very good idea. I guess I should have learned some valuable skills like how to light a fire or find water. Let's see. Let's try plan B. Scrounge supplies from all over the house. I run around the house, dodging zombies and emptying drawers into a trash bag. I am cornered and bitten. I spend my afterlife shuffling around with a hefty bag full of crap. The end. Well, I guess it's option C then. Let's grab our bug-out bag. Sweet. We had to get out of the house, but we had our gear and evacuation plan, so we're in good shape. And there's still those pesky zombies to worry about. Here they come. Well, we did play Uno. Let's see, page 37. You run from the zombies, but stop to take a break after only a few minutes. You are devoured slowly. That's not cool. I knew I should have gotten in shape when I had the chance. Let's see, screw Uno. I worked out. I got away from the zombie horde. I sprint away from the zombies, tirelessly dodging them until I'm clear. But Wilhelmina twists her ankle, and a lone zombie is upon her. What do we do? Should we leave her? I mean, we've only been dating a few weeks, and... Well, that's not cool. I can't leave Wilhelmina behind. I'll tell you what. Let's try the katana. I guess a frontal attack with my $15 tool of bloody death wasn't such a hot idea. Maybe I should join the Industrial Revolution and use a gun. Kick ass. Kids, remember this simple phrase. Bullet in the head, zombie dead. Bullet in the tummy, zombie rips your goddamn head off and eats your brain. It's kind of a mnemonic, so you remember it a little easier. Okay, it looks like Wilhelmina's hurt. She's begging me to leave her behind, but I can't do that. Still, that ankle's going to slow us down a little bit. Maybe we should take her to a hospital. That's where you take hurt people, right? The hospital is crawling with nurses and doctors, but once you get close, you realize they're all zombies. I have died again. That's the thing I hate about these books is you're constantly dying. It's always the end. You know, we should have realized that a hospital would probably be the first place to be overrun with zombies in the case of an apocalypse. Now, I'm kind of curious to see what would happen if we didn't have a first aid kit. Aw, Wilhelmina, you can't get a break. Luckily, I did have my bug-out bag. So, let's use our first aid kit. All right. I used my first aid kit and skills to splint her ankle and give her some aspirin to dull the pain. And we're on the move again. Unfortunately, all of this running around has gotten us lost, so we're going to have to figure out where we are. Luckily, I have my bob, so I can use the compass and map in it to find where I'm at and to continue on my way to my ultimate destination. It'll take a few days, and it looks like I've only brought enough food for one. If I'm willing to eat a bug and practice that word... No, bugs are gross. I'm not going to eat a bug. Let's see what happens if I have a squeamish... Wilhelmina! Oh. You know what? I'll eat a bug for Wilhelmina. Expert knowledge, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. Just to sum things up a little bit. We used our radio to get up-to-date information. We bugged in according to plan. We bugged out according to plan when our bug-in location was compromised. We got in shape beforehand, so we had the stamina to fight and run. We used our well-honed combat skills to kick a little zombie ass and to save the girl. And we patched her up with our first aid know-how. We used our land navigation skills to find out where we are, and our foraging skills to get something to eat. All that's left now is to make our way to our pre-planned bug-out location. A place that is safe, that has food, water, and people willing to take you in. A place you can find easily, and where you feel comfortable. But we should probably have a couple backup locations in case Mom's basement has been compromised. Should we go to the mall? That's where they go in the movies, and movies are for real, right? Let's go to the mall. Oh, that wasn't a very good idea. How about the government shelter? Things seem okay until people start getting sick. Soon the dying become the undead. Being on the dole in the apocalypse sucks. How about the Starship Enterprise? Get a life. All right, let's try a friend's farm. Friend's farm in a rural area. All right, we have reached the safety of our Uncle Luigi's home. We managed to hold out there until the scientists figure out how to stop the zombies with lasers. You marry Wilhelmina and have a passel of kids. Oh, I love a happy ending. Oh. All kidding aside, it is vitally important that you get the skills and knowledge you need to survive a disaster as soon as possible. There are dozens of places that will help you get these skills for little or no cost. Learning them doesn't have to be a drag. The Zombie Squad has shown that preparing for disasters such as earthquakes and undead mobs can be a lot of fun and rewarding, and that massive parties can be written off on your taxes as disaster preparation expenses. I'm going to turn you over to Will now, who's going to give you a little bit more information about what we here in Zombie Squad do.
Hello. Hi. I'm back. Thing earlier is no big deal. Don't worry about it. We got everything under control. All you need to do is buy a t-shirt. Okay. We went over a lot of stuff today, and obviously there was a lot of silliness, but we do actually do some of this stuff for real. So if at all you're interested, then you're welcome to ask questions during the Q&A after the break, or talk to us after the show. But right now, I'm going to say a couple of things and then wrap it up before we go, but I want to mention we do have a number of chapters right now that are full-fledged, legitimate chapters that are all doing their own thing like this in other areas. One is in Toronto. We have one, I believe, in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and of course there's the St. Louis. We also have a number of others that are currently under construction and should be full-fledged, functioning chapters very shortly. We have a couple events coming up I want to mention real fast. First of all, the Northwest Arkansas group is building a house right now for Habitat for Humanity, and they're starting that project on September 8th, so that's actually pretty cool. The New Jersey PA chapter is going to be at Zombie Fest in Pittsburgh, and that's actually a horror zombie convention being held in the mall that was used in the original Dawn of the Dead, so that's pretty cool actually. I'm not going to get to go, but kind of wish I could. In St. Louis, we have the blood drive coming up on the 29th, so you can sign up for that right outside there. And the Toronto chapter has a party on Halloween, October 31st, for the Project Share Food Bank. I went to that 2 years ago in Toronto, and it was a lot of fun. The next couple of weeks weren't so great, but that was pretty good. Also, of course, there is the giant pirate ship in Kansas we're working on, and that's coming along quite nicely. We are going to come back after the break here, and we're going to have a roundtable discussion, a bunch of movies, and a great raffle. Before we go, though, I want to thank, of course, the Tin Ceiling for letting us use this place, all the Zombie Squad people who helped put this thing together, and you guys for putting up with us. So remember, if you're prepared for zombies, you're prepared for anything. Thank you. That is all.